يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قيل لكم تفسحوا في المجالس في المجالس فافسحوا يفسح الله لكم وإذا قيل انشزوا وإذا قيل انشزوا فانشزوا يرفع الله الذين آمنوا منكم والذين أوتوا العلم درجات والذين أوتوا العلم درجات والله بما تعملون خبير والله بما تعملون خبير صدق الله العلي العظيم والله الموفق إلى أقوم الطريق والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you, Mahatma. And the next is singing of national anthem of Indonesia Raya. For the audience, please stand up. Have a seat, please. Thank you. And the next, allow us to proceed to welcoming remark from the conference chairperson by Ms. Nya Mutia Ismail, SPD MPD. From Ms. Nya, we please you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, thank you everyone for coming. On the behalf of the 5th ICMR committee, I am honored and delighted to welcome you to the 5th International Conference on Multidisciplinary Research. This event was held by Research and Community Service Department, Universitas Serambi Mekah, Banda Aceh, Indonesia. Thanks and gratitude to the head of Yayasan Pendidikan Serambi Mekah, Bapak Insinyur T. Iskandar Shah, to the Rector of Universitas Serambi Mekah, Bapak Dr. Teguh Abdurrahman SH SPN, Vice Rector 1, Bapak Insinyur T. Makmur, Vice Rector 2, Bapak Ilyas M. Harun SAMM, Vice Rector 3, Bapak Dr. Hambali S. Fili MPD, and Vice Rector 4, Bapak Dr. Jalaluddin MPD. Also, thanks to the head of Research and Community Service Department, Bapak Muslim Daud PhD, who is also one of our keynote speakers today. Also to our sponsor, Bank Tabungan Negara, to all organizing committee, presenters, and all participants, for students and also lecturers, thank you very much for coming. Basically, our technical program is rich and varied with 5 keynote speakers from 5 different countries. They're coming from Australia, Malaysia, Sudan, Japan, and Indonesia. We are honored to have Professor Alan Larkin from Flinders University, Australia, Professor Dr. Makoto Takahashi from Nagoya University, Japan, Professor Dr. Malor Muhammad Yunus from University Kebangsaan Malaysia, Professor Dr. Karashat Shakir Ali from University of Bahri, Sudan, and Bapak Muslim Daud PhD from Universitas Serambi Mekah, Indonesia. In this conference, we received more than 40 papers split into 3 parallel sessions afterward. In this event, we also expect to provide technical demonstrations of scientific proposals and numerous opportunities for informal networking after this event. As the conference chair of the 5th ICMR, I know that the success of the conference depends ultimately on many people who have worked with us in planning and organizing both the technical program and supporting through social media. In particular, we thank the program chairs of LPPM for their wise advice and brilliant suggestion on organizing the technical program. Also, the program committee, to all members for their thorough and timely reviewing the papers, and our sponsor, to Bank Tabungan Negara. The recognition should also go to the local organizing committee members, all of them who have all worked extremely hard for the details of important aspects of the conference programs and all social activities. Finally, once again, I say thank you for coming. Welcome, everyone. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Ms. Nya Mutia Ismail. And following on that, we have the welcoming remark from the head of Research and Community Service Center, Universitas Serambi Mekah, and open this conference officially on the name of the Rector of Universitas Serambi Mekah. So for Dr. Muslim Daud, we please you to take the place of you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, Honorable the head of LLDT, Honorable the head of Cooperatis, Honorable the head of UPSM, Ketua Umum UPSM, Ampun East, Honorable Director of Universitas Serami Mekah, Honorable the Vice Rector of Universitas Serami Mekah that join us directly. There are Pak Teguh Makmur, ada Pak Jalal, and Pak Hambali in Jambi. Join us could be from Jambi. And the Dean of Universitas Serami Mekah, the head of institutes, ada Pak Dr. Nasir, ada Ibu Koordinator Pasca Sarjana Universitas Serami Mekah, the head of departments and units in Universitas Serami Mekah, lecturers, senior lecturers, students from different departments, different faculties who gathered here directly in Aula Dr. Yunis in Universitas Muhammad Hasan. All joined us, around 200 participants through Zoom. This is something very good. All audiences that I cannot mention your name one by one. And of course, my first thank is to the head of YPSM, Ambon East, Teguh Iskandar Shah, who support this activity morally and also financially. And of course, they are donors from BTN and other some counterparts. Many thanks also to Pak Rektor, Wakil Rektor, and all fellows from Dean and Ketua Lembaga who supported this activity. And of course, my thanks to all team members, from committee members, ada Ibu Nyak Mutia, ada Miss Sabrina, ada Pak Masyudi, ada Pak Benda Mak Pada, ada Pak Teguh Rafsanjani, ada Pak Munawir di belakang, ini luar biasa. Ada Pak semuanya, terima kasih, kalian memang luar biasa. You are all so good, so best team members that we ever had, including Ibu Nyak, Ibu Ani Novita Yanti, of course. Sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, this international conference, we come to the 5th international conference this year. And of course, we started this from 2016 gradually, but we did not do that for some years. And then we started again from 2020. And right now become the 5th international conference. And hopefully by next year, will become the 6th international conference for multidisciplinaries of this university. Not many private universities in Indonesia, including in Aceh, has this kind of activity that can achieve until the 6 years of its international conference. But we keep this achievement year by year, and hopefully whoever will come as a leader of LPPM will continue this, because this is very prestigious international conference, and therefore we need to keep it going and going. And of course, this is not only the ceremonial activity, but also there are journals. We accept journal articles from different counterparts, from lecturers, from researchers, locally, nationally, and internationally. As reported by Ibu Nyak Mutia and team, we also have article from Vietnam this year. This is something very good. Let's give applause from the presenters from Vietnam. We have Moon there. I don't know if Moon already with us through Zoom. And also from Pakistan. You see, the quality of this international conference year by year improve. And this is, we should take something like that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your all support. Thank you for everything, and hopefully you enjoy and take more benefit from this international event. And for you who not very good in English, start from now to learn how to use, how to communicate with this international language, because we need, as scholar, we need this for our future, for your success, inshallah. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's me shift into reading a speech that should be presented by our rector of Universitas Serambi Mekah. Sekarang izinkan saya untuk membacakan teks yang disiapkan untuk Bapak Rektor Universitas Serambi Mekah dalam kerangka menyambut ya pemateri peserta yang berhadir baik langsung di dalam hall ini ataupun melalui Zoom. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Universitas Serambi Mekah, I would like to express my great pleasure to welcome all of you to the 5th International Conference on Multidisciplinary Research, ICMR of Universitas Serambi Mekah. We are truly honored by your attendance and enthusiasm to participate in this international event that has become our routine agenda from 2016. This activity is an enormous collective effort from our Research and Community Service Institute, Lembaga Penelitian dan Pengabdian Masyarakat, LPPM, Universitas Serambi Mekah, and of course, organizing committee and all team members. The great support comes from leaders of Universitas Serambi Mekah Development Foundation, USM, rectorates, offices, and structural readers, sponsors, and all relevant parties. It allows us today to get an intellectual platform for everyone, researchers, students, teachers, and general public to find, update information, and exchange ideas on important issues in various fields. Dear ladies and gentlemen, as the world keeps changing, we need to keep adjusting ourselves to sustain the life of humankind. We need to think big and adopt the growth mindset because natural selection tends to occur to those who are stagnant and not in favor of changes. We should step out of our comfort zone, seek more knowledge, enhance our problem-solving skills, improve our method, and create innovation to overcome the dynamic challenges, especially in the fourth industrial revolution era we are having today, where everything changes rapidly. The world has also become more connected today with technology, and there are no boundaries between countries. This offers an advantage for us to have emancipated learning, which is the learning that is not limited socially, politically, and geographically. We should use this opportunity to develop ourselves personally and professionally. And this is why this year's international conference of this great university, Innovation to Support Emancipated Learning, MBKM, Merdeka Belajar Kurikulum Belajar, Research and Community Services for Sustainable Development Goals. Ladies and gentlemen, regarding earthquake in Ciganjur, West Java, let us silent for a while and pray for its victim of this disaster. Rekan-rekan yang kami hormati, Bapak Rektor, semua hadirin, baik yang ada di Zoom ataupun yang ada yang di aula ini, mari kita sejenak berdiam diri dan berdoa kepada para korban yang ditimpa musibah di Ciganjur, Jawa Barat yang baru terjadi gempa 2 hari lalu. Semoga mereka tabah dalam menghadapi dan diberikan jalan keluar. Hening cipta sambil berdoa dimulai. Selesai? Thank you. Thanks to all of our keynote speakers, of course, from 5 different countries that have been mentioned by the head of committee just now, the organizing committee, presenters, participants for this, making this event happen. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of director, I officially open this event and hope everyone is benefited as much as possible. Thank you very much, Dr. Teguh Abdurrahman SH SPM, Director of Universitas Serambi Mekah. Demikian, thank you very much. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Bapak Muslim Fisdi, and the last in our opening is Prior, Mr. Mahardiman, time and place of yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا نائمين حمدا شاكرين حمدا يعافي نعمه ويكافئ مزيدا يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك الكريم وعظيم سلطانك اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب المجيب دعوات يا قاضي الحاجات اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا ولوالدينا كما ربيانا صغيرا اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا ولوالدينا وارحمهما كما ربيانا صغيرا اللهم إنا نسألك سلامة في الدين وعافية في الجسد وزيادة في العلم وبركة في الرزق وتوبة قبل الموت ورحمة عند الموت ومغفرة بعد الموت اللهم هون علينا في سكرة الموت والنجاة من النار والعفو عند الحساب اللهم إنا نسألك رضاك والجنة ونعوذ بك من سخطك والنار ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار من فضلك جنة النعيم سبحان ربك رب العزة أما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين والله الموفق إلى أقوم الطريق والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Ladies and gentlemen, prior is the last moment in our ceremonial opening this morning. Please stay here, still here, and for all of you also by the Zoom virtual, please stay tuned in front of your camera because we will go to the main session guided by Miss Sabrina as moderator. So we'll meet great keynote speakers soon. And finally, I'm the host for today. I would like to apologize the mistake that I did. I close with Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Selamat datang di Universitas Serambi Mekah. Menjadi universitas yang unggul, inovatif, dan berintegritas dalam bidang tridharma perguruan tinggi di tingkat nasional dan internasional. Universitas Serambi Mekah yang disingkat USM yang bernaung di bawah Yayasan Pembangunan Serambi Mekah atau YPSM didirikan pada tanggal 21 Maret 1984 oleh salah seorang pendiri negara Republik Indonesia, Dr. Mr. Haji Teku Muhammad Hasan yang tertuang dalam Akta Notaris nomor 76 tahun 1984 dengan izin operasional nomor 180/SK.PPS/KOP/1985 tanggal 18 Juli 1985. Dengan surat keputusan Menteri Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan Republik Indonesia nomor 0430/O/1987 tanggal 23 Juli 1987. PTSM memperoleh status terdaftar.
Universitas Serambi Mekah merupakan salah satu universitas swasta yang beroperasional di bawah koordinator LL Dikti Wilayah 13 Aceh yang diselenggarakan oleh Yayasan Pembangunan Serambi Mekah atau YPSM.
Sejak tahun 2000 hampir seluruh program studi yang ada di lingkungan PTSM memperoleh status terakreditasi BAN PT.
Ketika pertama kali didirikan tahun 1985 dipimpin oleh Dr. Mr. Teku Haji Muhammad Hasan sampai dengan tahun 1997 setelah beliau wafat. YPSM dipimpin oleh putri beliau yaitu Pocut Hajah Kemalawati sampai dengan tahun 2004.
Tahun 2004 sampai 2014, kepemimpinan YPSM dimotori oleh Ayahanda Hati Sulaiman Syah, anak menantu dari almarhum Dr. Mr. Hati Muhammad Hasan. Tahun 2014 sampai dengan saat ini, YPSM dipimpin Insinyur Teku Iskandar Syah, anak dari Ayahanda Hati Sulaiman Syah. Di bawah kepemimpinan beliau, YPSM dan Universitas Serambi Mekah terus mengalami perkembangan yang signifikan, baik dilihat dari kualitas maupun kuantitas. Tahun 2002, Universitas Serambi Mekah terus melakukan pengembangan dan merespons kebutuhan nyata masyarakat Aceh dengan mengubah PTSM menjadi Universitas Serambi Mekah atau USM. Berdasarkan surat keputusan Mendiknas nomor 250-D/0/2002 tanggal 30 Oktober 2002.
Perkenalkan, nama saya Tiara Hanti, saya berasal dari Kota Banda Aceh, saya berkuliah di Universitas.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 5th International Conference on Multidisciplinary Research of Universitas Serambi Mekah. I hope that everyone is in a healthy condition and always in God's blessing. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Sabrina, and I will be serving as your moderator for the panel session today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed an honor for us to hold this international conference for the 5th time and have 5 experts from 5 different countries who are going to share their valuable insight on a number of different issues with us today. But before we start the presentation, let me share with you a brief profile of our honorable keynote speakers. The first speaker we have with us today here is Associate Professor Dr. Malur Muhammad Yunus. She is a professor of English Language Education and Innovative Pedagogies and currently a Deputy Dean of Research and Innovation at the Faculty of Education, University Kebangsaan Malaysia. She is best known for establishing the integration of ICT in teaching and learning as a second language research. She is active in scholarly journal and publishing 215 papers in citation index journal Scopus with almost 2,000 citation and 8 index 18. Her publication focused on the integration of ICT in teaching and learning English as a second language, technology enhanced language learning, computer assisted language learning and innovative pedagogies. She received her first degree from the University of Nevada, Reno, USA, MA from Arizona State University, USA, and PhD from University of Bristol, UK, as well as postgrad certificate of gifted education from the University of New South Wales, Australia. She is also the first recipient of the National Higher Education e-Learning Award for her contribution in creativity and is also among the top 3 cited Malaysian researcher list in 2014. And she won UKM Best Teaching Award in 2016. She was conferred upon the award of Distinguished Woman in Social Science in 2017 for her contribution and achievement in the field of teaching and learning innovation by Venus International Foundation. She was awarded the Most Active Innovator in the International Invention and Innovative Competition Award and 2 awards for UKM. And not only that, Professor Dr. Miller also has received 200 innovation awards and is highly regarded among her peers in her field. And this is why to have Professor Dr. Miller with us today is an absolute honor for us. Hello, Dr. Miller. How are you?
Hello, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam. Thank you very much for attending this conference and being one of our keynote speakers. It is really a great pleasure for us to have you here. The next honorable speakers of ours is Professor Alan Larkin from Flinders University, Australia. He had his bachelor degree in science, pure and applied mathematics and in education at the University of Melbourne, Australia. Then he received his master degree in arts, leadership and management. He is also a former director of the Flinders University Institute of International Education and director of studies postgrad programs in Flinders University of South Australia. And today he is going to share about supporting Indonesia-Australia cooperation and sharing experience as motivation for international students. Hello, Professor Allen. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. It's wonderful to be with you folks.
Thank you, Professor Allen, for your acceptance to be our speaker. Following Professor Allen, we have Dr. Karashat Muhammad Shakir Ali from University of Bahri, Khartoum, Sudan, Africa. Dr. Karashat is an assistant professor in clinical pathology, and she has a great concern on environment. She was also a consultant for herd outbreak and herd diseases investigation, head of poultry inspection team, senior vet doctor in Omdurman Veterinary Hospital for the Ministry of Animal Resources, Fisheries and Agriculture. She actively conducted professional development through many courses in veterinary research and Arabic language. And in this occasion, Dr. Karashat is going to talk about improving health quality in the post-pandemic era from the environmental perspective. Hello, Dr. Karashat. Hello, doctor. How are you? Okay. Moving on to the next panelist. We have Professor Dr. Makoto Takahashi from Nagoya University, Japan. Professor Makoto is currently teaching at the Graduate School of Environmental Studies, Nagoya University, Japan. And he received doctoral degree in geography in 1994 and MA in 1988 from both Nagoya University, where he is working now. His research interests are on natural disaster risk governance, community development in city and countryside, and changing rural societies and region. And with us, he is going to share about tsunami disaster and its mitigation from the environmental engineering perspective, benefit on the education and economic sector. And last but not least, we also have Dr. Muslim Daud from Universitas Serambi, Mekah. Dr. Muslim Daud received his bachelor degree in education from UIN Araniri, Banda Aceh, Indonesia, and master degree in education from Flinders University, Australia, and doctoral degree in education from National Taichung of Education, Taiwan. He has been very active in the field of research and community services, and is currently holding a position as the head of Research and Community Services Institute, or LPPM, of Universitas Serambi, Mekah. He is also an active reviewer at a number of international and national journals, became an invited speakers in many national seminars and conferences on education, and is also an active researcher in education. And in this occasion, he will share with us his research entitled Investigating Online Learning Implementation in Banda Aceh, Challenges and Possible Solution. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's our speaker's outstanding profile. And having known their background, I'm sure that everyone is looking forward to hearing their presentation. But before we start the presentation, I would like to inform a few things, or the etiquette, to ensure that our panel sessions is going well. The first one is each presentation of the keynote speaker will take place for 15 minutes, and the Q&A session will follow after all the keynote speakers complete their presentation. And the presenters and participants are expected to stay mute and to stay tuned on Zoom while the presentation takes place, and are allowed to ask questions and give comment in the chat box on Zoom during the conference. And those attending the conference live or in person in this hall is allowed to raise your hand and ask the question directly after the panel session is finished. And the presenters and participants are expected to stay mute and not allowed to use inappropriate language in this occasion. And the attendance link will be shared 30 minutes before the panel session ends. Okay, everyone, I think without further ado, let's start for the first presentation. You will be hearing from Associate Professor Dr. Melar Muhammad Yunus from University Kebangsaan Malaysia, who is going to talk about SDG in educational research and innovation. Hello, Prof. Melar.
Hello.
Are you ready for the presentation?
Yes.
Excellent.
Okay, is it
The
possible?
floor is now yours, Professor.
Okay, is it possible for me to share the slides?
Can you share the
Oh,
slide?
yes, sure.
Yes. Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good morning to all. My name is Melar Muhammad Yunus from Faculty of Education UKM, and I will be presenting a topic which is SDG and educational research and innovation. And first of all, I would like to thank the committee for the invitation for me to be one of the keynote speakers. So when we talk about SDG, there are 17. Okay, can I have my slide again? There are 17
Sorry.
One moment. Okay. There are 17 targets for SDG, but for the purpose of this keynote session, I will focus on SDG number 4, which is quality education. Okay, when we talk about quality education, there are four targets. In other words, there are actually 10 targets, which is broken into 4 main targets, which is target number 1 is 4.1 is free primary and secondary education. Okay. Target 4.2 is equal access to quality pre-primary education, which these two area is very crucial in Malaysia as well as in Indonesia, I assume. Okay, and target 4.3 on equal access to affordable technical, vocational, and higher education. Target number 4, let me see, target number 4 is more increasing the number of people with relevant skills for financial success. And next target is eliminate all discrimination education. Target 4.6 is universal literacy and numeracy, which is also an important aspect for us to look at. And target 4.7 is education for sustainable development and global citizenship. This target 4.7 is broken into 4. Okay, it's broken into 4 area or targets, smaller target, which is 1, build and upgrade inclusive and safe schools. Next, expand higher education scholarship for developmental countries and increase the supply of qualified teachers in developing countries. Okay. In Malaysia, how does SDG relate to Malaysia? Okay, in the report, 2021 sustainable report which titled on the decade of action for the sustainable development goals. In Malaysia, we are ranked 65 out of 165 countries for SDG standing. In terms of regional average, we scored average is 66.7, but we scored higher than that, which is 70.9. If you look at the diagram on the right hand here, which is average performance by SDG, we can see that as of all the 17 SDG number 4, we are almost reaching, but still there are lots of room for improvement. However, if we look at the one that have achieved 100% is SDG 1. Okay, SDG 1 as mentioned earlier on the poverty. Okay, and in terms of statistical performance index, we are at 71.1%. So that's what has been reported in the Sustainable Development Goal 2021. We yet to receive the report for Sustainable Development Report for 2022. Okay. So if we look at the SDG dashboard and trends, so SDG 4 targets number 4, which is quality education, is our focus for today. If we go down a bit, we can see that of all the SDG, SDG 1 is, we have the green color and is in the up, if we look at the note down there, is SDG has been achieved, which is, no poverty. And we are on track of maintaining SDG achievement. When we look at SDG 4, which is the focus for today, which is quality education, we can see that it is still challenges remain, okay, and we are hoping that we can improve. And if we look at the arrow, we are at a stagnant stage. Okay, so lots of improvement needed for that. Okay, but we are almost achieving 100% actually. And if we focus SDG 4 for quality education, for the net primary enrollment rates 100%, we are almost there, 99.6%, almost achieving 100%. And for literacy rate, which is the percentage of population aged 15 to 24, we are also above 95%. We reached 96.9% for 2018. However, the one that we need to focus more is on lower secondary completion rate, which is we still at the 84.9% as reported in 2019. So this is the room that we have to focus more. The reason, perhaps the reason for these issues is students tend to stop at their education at 15 years old due to they want to help the family, they go to the workforce immediately, perhaps. Okay, so there are so many reasons for that, why we have this a little bit lower achievement. Although having said that, although it's lower, but we still above 80%. Okay. Okay, when we look at SDG in education, let me move this slide a bit. Okay. SDG in education, research and innovation. So what to focus here, still at the target number 4, which is quality education. So when we look at the English language education reform in Malaysia, the roadmap to 2015-2025, we focus our background, we focus still on quality education, where we rephrase into quality culture in English language education. This framework can be implemented, or it can be adopted or adapted by other subjects as well. But since my area is English language education, so I will use this as our sample for today. So for quality culture in English language education, there are 3 main points that we have to focus on, which is quality English language program, quality delivery system, and quality learning outcomes. How those relate to SDG? Okay, one moment. Okay, for quality culture in English language education, it focused for SDG 4.C, SDG 4.6.4.7, as well as SDG 4.A. Okay, for quality culture in English language education, the focus is on a continuous and sufficient supply of high caliber teachers, which is reflected in SDG 4.C. Okay, for high quality learning materials, including online learning, this is reflected in SDG 4.6 and SDG 4.7. When we talk about the third point is high quality learning environment, that also reflected in SDG 4.8. So that's what embed in the quality culture in English language education. So when we look on the upper part, which is quality English education, quality delivery system, quality learning outcomes, that can be broken into or divided into 3 main points, which number 1 is teaching and learning. Point number 2 is learning materials, and point number 3, assessment. We cannot run away from teaching and learning, learning materials, as well as assessment. Okay, so what is there in teaching and learning? So we have to use authentic learning materials. We have to have a goal of language learning is using the language. That's what we want. We want language learning to be continuous and can be used at different places. We would like to have language learning allows for errors, okay, because students sometimes learn from errors that they have made. Okay, language proficiency result in comprehension and production for interaction. And one of the most important thing for quality English language program is, for teaching and learning aspect, is meaningful, authentic, purposeful learning. So when we talk about meaningful, authentic, purposeful learning, that will be related to teaching materials. That's where innovation comes in. So in other words, the framework SDG, then how we can adopt SDG in our educational research. But in my case, I focus on language learning. Then how that relate to innovation is when we want to teach, we must have, or we should have, meaningful, authentic, purposeful materials. That's where innovation comes in. Okay, as well for learning materials, we focus a bit on the learning materials. It should reflect the learning culture. So every country have their own culture. So the textbook, the material should reflect our own culture. Okay, it should fit the purpose. It has to be useful and relevant, and it should be free from errors. As well for assessment, it should reflect the values of the language program. Okay. Okay, next we move on to the next slide. Okay, so how can we relate that innovation in education? Okay, innovation, if we look at the picture on the left, it shows the spark of ideas. It shows that we need to be creative and imaginative. We got to think out of the box, where would provide solution plan. We should think of the solution plan. We should be knowledgeable. And what most important is we should have vision. Where are we going to take our education for the future? And that's also include creativity. Okay, so what is innovation? Okay, to link that to educational research just now, innovation is an improvement or change. So what we do today does not give you the result that you want. We need to change. So we can change in terms of the style of teaching and learning. We can change of the strategies. We can change in terms of materials, and lots can be changed actually. So for the betterment for our students, our teachers, as well as our country. So we have to think of something new in a particular context, and then so we got to innovate something that did not exist before. Okay, when we ask again innovation, is that possible? I would say yes, because from my experience as a lecturers, okay, I have embedded this in my own students, and we create teaching materials innovative. We innovate teaching materials. We are not using the same teaching materials for our classes. We innovate lots of teaching materials, and we enter innovative competition to see whether it is good, or it can achieve certain standard. So before we can go for the innovation competition, we have to go to this process. Number one, we got to plan. Okay, we got to plan what we want to develop, and then we got to select what we would like to develop. Then we design, develop, and we execute. Then once we have done it, we have implemented, then we got to reflect. So once we have gone through this cycle, I mean, people sometimes call it as action research cycle. Okay, but you can embed this also for the DDR research design. Okay, where you design, develop, then you implement, and then you evaluate. Okay, so you could come up with a new innovation for language learning. Okay, so I think with these ideas of SDG as the platform, okay, SDG as the framework, we adopt and adapt to our own educational research. Okay, our own educational research. Then how can we innovate something to suit the education research and education and innovation? Then we have to create the innovation to bring our education to a certain level. Okay, so I hope with this short keynote presentation, I hope you have ideas how we can adopt SDG in our education. Okay, how we can increase our educational research, and how we can embed innovation to upbringing our education to a certain level to achieve SDG 17 targets, which is the focus on this topic is SDG 4, which is quality education. Okay, I think the time is almost 15 minutes. So with that, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Malur. Yeah. It is very nice to hear your interesting presentation, especially on SDG in educational research and innovation, and what to focus to improve the quality of education. To everyone attending this event via Zoom or in person, I would like to remind you that if you have any question to Professor Dr. Mallory, feel free to ask via Zoom in the chat box, or you can also raise your hand later when we enter the Q&A section. Thank you very much, Professor. Next, moving along to our session, please welcome Professor Dr. Alan Larkin from Flinders University, Australia. And as I mentioned earlier, he is going to talk about supporting Indonesia-Australia cooperation, sharing experience as a motivation for international students. Hello, Professor. Professor Alan.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Very
nice to meet you.
Selamat pagi, Ibu.
Are you ready for the presentation?
I'm ready to go. I do have a PowerPoint, but I would ask you might control the slides for me, please.
Okay. Can you please give us a few minutes?
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe I could introduce myself while you're doing that.
Oh, sure. Of course. Please.
So, good morning to everyone. Alan Larkin is my name. I'm a retired academic from Flinders University. Thank you. I worked for many years with international students, and many of those students were from Indonesia. In fact, some of my most famous students are with you today. I perhaps shouldn't embarrass them by indicating their names. So next slide, please. So I have many slides, but I will speak mostly to about 6 slides. In discussing my presentation with Dr. Muslim, I think this is the best way to go. If an Indonesian or a Malaysian student is wanting to study abroad, maybe in Australia, there are many things to decide. So what questions should I ask? Who can I ask? Where can I get information from? How can I get the answers to my questions? Next slide, thank you. You have to keep in mind, of course, if you're young or old, single or married, if you have children, and whether they will come with you. I will not enter into questions about that, but obviously they are also critical, important items. Next slide, thanks. So some of these might appear obvious, but I think it was useful to put them together. Are you going to a foreign university to study a particular degree, like a banking degree, an international studies degree, or in my field, educational leadership field? Are you going to the country and the university because you want to learn from a particular professor or academic or researcher? Or do you know what you want to investigate in your research and your studies? Have you been following over many years some very large project in another country? Or have you heard about someone who's doing exciting things in the field of your interest? Next slide. I've put this in because I think it's important that international students know that things have changed. And Pak Mus mentioned this in his comments. We've all experienced COVID, and that's had a very big impact on groupings of students and staff. In Australia, we've not been exempt. The universities have had far fewer students than prior to COVID. Unfortunately, that's meant that some staff have retired or have become redundant, or they've reduced their hours, or they've become an adjunct, which is really a volunteer staff member. Unfortunately, departing full-time academic staff have been replaced in many cases by contract staff. And those contract staff often work only 4 hours or 6 hours or 8 hours each week of the teaching term. Many classes were cancelled, and many courses were converted into online learning or computer-based programs and involve very limited contact between the students and the staff. The actual contact that the student has with a particular academic staff member can be quite limited. When I was working at Flinders University, I was a full-time permanent staff member. So I was at Flinders University all day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and even Saturday and Sunday. And so my students had more opportunity to meet with me to discuss their assignments or other concerns. Next slide, please. So if you're contacting a university in Australia or another country, you might want to ask these questions. How much of my course will be delivered face-to-face with a real person, a man or a woman, standing in front of me, giving us seminars, lectures, workshops, and tutorials. We hear a lot about online learning, but many, many institutions are not investing enough money or time into developing the high quality materials that are required. So the second question is, how much of my course, if any, will be delivered online or through technology of some sort? A third question alluded to before, how many of the academic staff who are working in the degree that I want, are they still full-time, or has it changed to a contract-based, hourly paid academic who are only around for a few hours each week? I prefer to have face-to-face contact in my learning, and I would tend to go for university courses that are substantially delivered by academic staff in the room. Another question, particularly for international students, is that there is the risk of coming to, say, Adelaide and living in an Indonesian community and having only Indonesian friends. And some people refer to this as a ghetto. At Flinders, we had a centre which was a research institute, and we had weekly research meetings, and the students came, we had morning tea, and there was a lot of multicultural interaction in those events. Next slide, please. So again, how do we get students to mingle with one another? You'll see as we progress, I'm going to mention that we had a student community centre, and it was open every day of the week, and the centre organised social events, activities which included the spouse and the children and their friends, and included activities at weekends and on non-teaching weeks. Our centre at Flinders was a multi-faith based centre, and we thought of it as very faith friendly. So you're very welcome if you're a Muslim or a Buddhist or a Jewish person or a Christian or any of the other faith traditions that we know of. That centre, the community centre, we believe it should promote international understanding and community awareness through activities and events. Next slide, please. This is making it more specific to Flinders Uni. Our research institute, which was based in the School of Education, was called FUI, Flinders University International Institute for International Education. And we met weekly, and the students gave seminars, the staff gave seminars on their research, but it also included social interactions. It was purely a community centre called Oasis, and everybody was welcome there. You could take your lunch, morning or afternoon tea, attend a seminar, or just some sort of group meeting. Some of our volunteers provided English language help for the families of students. and that was very popular. Oasis also organised visits, excursions, beach trips, parties, movie nights, sporting activities, and all sorts of activities designed to mix and match students from different cultures, from different degrees, from different faculties, and so on. Next slide, please. So how can they find out, those people in your country or Malaysia or the Philippines or anywhere? Well, the best thing is to get current information, and you could do that by speaking to the family of your friends who have students who are already currently studying abroad. Most Indonesians know about the alumni of the Australian universities. They're the students who've completed their studies and returned back home after graduation. That's a very good source of information. Then there are advisors who attend tertiary education exhibitions, particularly in Indonesia. I personally attended exhibitions representing Flinders University in Jakarta, Surabaya, and Bandung. Very interesting. And I enjoyed meeting those students who eventually came to Flinders. There are, of course, websites of universities, but in addition to the main website, there are many web pages for the university which has information about degrees, programs, the various schools in the university, the student resources, and the facilities. So dig deep into the websites to find what you're looking for. Next slide, please. Can we go back? I think one more. So what are my priorities? If I've got a family, I need to take care of them. So the websites of the universities will include references to community centres, research institutes, so you can understand more about what each university is offering. Next slide, please. So what are the priorities for my family? A lot of that will be to do with maintaining culture and traditions. I've mentioned faith-friendly. Adelaide in particular has numerous mosques and many Islamic communities. The university has a Muslim association, and the City of Adelaide has an Islamic student association. And of course, we need to think, what am I trying to achieve through my studies? Next slide, please. Next slide, please. I think we skipped one. Not to worry. How is my time going? Hello?
Thank you very much, Professor Larkin, for a very insightful presentation.
You're welcome.
Everyone, please give applause to Professor Larkin. I believe that what you have shared with us today is something that most students, including me, desire, which is about studying in Australia. And again, I would like to invite our audiences who have a question for Professor Larkin. You may ask a question or write it down on the chat box if you're attending this event via Zoom, or you may ask it in person as we enter the Q&A session. Bagi yang punya pertanyaan untuk Profesor Dr. Malur dari UKM dan juga Profesor Alan Larkin dari Flinders, Australia, dipersilakan untuk menulis pertanyaan jika menghadiri event ini melalui Zoom atau boleh bertanya langsung nanti di Q&A session secara live jika menghadiri di hall ini. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Dr. Karashat Muhammad Shakir Ali from Bahari University, Sudan, who will be speaking to us on improving health quality in the post-pandemic era from the environmental perspective. Hello, Dr. Karashat.
Hello.
Are you, Doctor?
Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
It is very nice to have you here with us today. And are you ready for your presentation?
Yeah, I'm ready for my presentation, but I think the topic is the environmental impact on human health.
Do you have any difficulty showing your slide? We can wait for you.
If you give me chance, and then I will share it.
Can you share your screen?
I will try.
Okay.
Is my voice is clear?
Okay, you have 15 minutes for your presentation.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Work. First of all, I want to thank everybody for. First of all, I would like to thank Allah for this opportunity, for this blessed gathering, and then I would like to thank the University of Sarambe Makkah for giving us all this opportunity for exchange knowledge and ideas. I am Karashat As-Sarraj, Assistant Professor in Clinical Pathology, Bahri University from Sudan. My topic is environmental impact on human health. Actually, during the last century, research has been increasingly drawn toward understanding the human-nature relationship and has revealed the many ways human link to the nature. To understand the environmental impact on human health, we need first to understand the relationship between the human and nature. For this paper discuss the nature, will define the nature and human and health through different concepts, including Islamic thinking. And then comparison between the environmental factors and affecting human activities and environment also are going to be carried out in order to make an obvious description for the relation between the environment and human and the impact of human this relationship to human health. For the natural environment, for definition, it is the natural environment or natural world encompasses all living and non-living things occurring naturally, not artificial. The term is most often applied to the earth or some parts of earth. In Islam, Muslims believe that the world begins and ends with Allah, and the creation story in Islam describes the creation of the universe by Allah's will with a single command, be. And then we are going to talk about human. Human is what? Human, Homo sapiens, is the most abundant and widespread species of primate. He is characterized, or it is characterized by bipedalism, a large complex brains, the highly social, and the biological variation influenced by the genes and the environment. and they are sexually dimorphic, they are omnivorous, and generally diurnal. In Islam, Al-Quran affirms the humanness and describes four aspects of the human: the physical creation, the spirit, the natural disposition, the light. Quran admit the creation of the human, the physical creation. That means human is not, there's no biological differences between human and animal, or human and every other creature, except that Allah distinguished human by two things. That the first is that Allah created human by his two hands. Nothing is given this distinction. And also Allah breathed his own spirit into human. So this is the difference between human and others. And then for this also, the fitra of human is just, as I said, this the third of the human aspect of the human is fitra, is also the same with the other creation, and with all the natural phenomena. That all natural phenomena Allah created or to worship him and to be away for him. But the difference between human and the rest of the natural phenomena, that Allah gives human two privileges. These are that freedom of choice and specialized knowledge of creative knowledge. The freedom of choice allows man the ability to make decision whether or not to worship Allah, because he's already given the knowledge, so he can choose whether or not. And then as a regard or as a reward for him, Allah will send directly to him the light. The light is knowledge of Allah and the light of insight. This light is given to believers as a reward for them. Then we are going to talk about health. Health is the World Health Organization in 1946 defined the health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease and infirmity. In 2009, researchers publishing in The Lancet defined health as the ability of the body to adapt to new threats and infirmities. They based this definition on the idea that the past few decades have seen modern science take significant strides in the awareness of disease by understanding how they work, discovering new ways to slow or stop them, and acknowledging that an absence of pathology may be not possible. In Islam, there are four fundamental principles of health. The first is that disease is benediction. Disease is benediction. Sickness is generally considered as the derangement or physiological or psychological event and perceived as a negative manifestation. So in Islam, however, sickness is primarily a test to the believers and provide expiation for sins. That's a benediction from Allah. And then the second principle is that good health is blessing. The Prophet Muhammad said, there are two blessings in which most people were in great loss: good health and free time. And then the third one is that Allah sent cure for every disease. The Prophet Muhammad also said that Allah did not send down any disease without sending down its cure. And then the first one is that cure needs divine intervention, medical treatment, even if compulsory cannot be considered as the sole cause of cure. Rather, it is a means of healing and merely as an addition with the permission of Allah. Now, come to talk about human-environment relationship. The human-nature relationship, compulsory can. Pardon? There are many theories trying to describe the human environment relationship. There is Developing conceptual model was proposed by combining theoretical concepts and methodological approach from 4 research fields or from 4 theories: the evolutionary biology and the social economics and evolutionary psychology and environmental. So it said that we have to combine these all to understand them and then to make a conjoint bind between them so we can understand the relation between the human and nature. But in Islam, we said that Islam simplified the relation between the mankind and nature in 2 principles. First is that man is a part of the natural world in his formation, growth, and the continuity of his existence on this earth. The second is that the Almighty Allah has colonized man in this world. He entrusted him with the building of it by using its natural resources and its good environmental conditions so as to understand the power of the Almighty Allah and his blessing to him. And then come to environmental risk factors and the human activities. Actually, the environmental factors, they have 2 impacts on human. They have the positive and we can say the negative. For the positive environmental impact, we found that in recent researches that it has a good impact on physical health, mental and psychological health also, improving it by exposure to nature, by visual or multi-sensory active engagement. These are where they found that equally to eating healthy food and by regular exercise. But for the environmental factors, which has a harmful impact on human health, we find that physical hazards such radioactive and UV radiation, global warming, and chlorofluorocarbons, and noise, etc. And then the chemical hazards, and then the biological hazards. And then it said that in human activities impact on natural environment is the ozone depletion, acid rain, air pollution, water pollution, deforestation, biodiversity, noise pollution, and light pollution. What I want to say here is that all the environmental factors also affecting human is also a man-made. In the past, we said that the physical hazards and the chemical hazards man-made, but now also the biological hazards are also man-made. So we can just come back again to Al-Quran because I'm Muslim. وَمَا أَصَابَكَ مِنْ حَسَنَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ وَمَا أَصَابَكَ مِنْ سَيِّئَةٍ فَمِنْ نَفْسِكَ وَأَرْسَلْنَاكَ لِلنَّاسِ رَسُولًا. What does this mean? This means what comes to you of good is from Allah. All good is from Allah. So Allah gave us the nature, good. And nature effect on human also is a good effect. Unless when the human interfere in it and make destruction for it. So Allah, but what comes to you of evil is from yourself. We have sent you, Muhammad, to the people as a messenger, and sufficient is Allah witness. This was about the وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ. In yourself, don't you see? So for the conclusion of this all, I can see that the connection between protecting the natural environment and safeguarding human health has been recognized for some time. In recent decades, the focus of research and legislation has been identifying and regulating environmental toxics to produce harmful exposure. The effect of various environmental exposures such as toxic chemicals, air pollution, and biological agents on the human body can be considered, for me, as conclusion, as for this study can be just considered symptoms for a bigger problem and not the real threat. Treating symptoms, and of course treating symptoms, does not solve the problem itself. Because in the Quran we said also, Allah said in the Quran, له معقبات من بين يديه ومن خلفه يحفظونه من أمر الله إن الله لا يغير ما بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم وإذا أراد الله بقوم سوءا فلا مرد له وما لهم من دونه من وال. So change the condition, and indeed Allah will not change the condition of people until they change what is in themselves. And when Allah intend for people ill, there is no repealing it, and there is not for them beside him any pattern. And thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Karashad, for addressing this very important topic. And I would like to invite everyone to give applause. It is very nice and really interesting. We realize that environment plays a critical role in human health, and having you highlighting this matter is such a reminder that we must pay attention more to keep the environment to avoid possible health issues on human in the future. Thank you very much, Dr. Karashad. And again, I would like to invite everyone, if you have a question to Dr. Karashad, jika ada pertanyaan kepada Dr. Karashad, silakan ditulis di chat box via Zoom, atau boleh nanti ketika sudah selesai sesi panel. And thank you very much once again. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I notice here we also have audiences from SMA Padang TG. Halo, terima kasih sudah hadir bersama kita di sini. Semoga ilmu yang disampaikan oleh para keynote speaker bermanfaat buat adik-adik kita yang di SMA Padang TG. Silakan beri aplaus adik-adik kita yang semangat ini. Thank you very much. Moving along the session, we have Professor Makoto Takahashi from Nagoya University, Japan. And Professor Makoto, today we are going to share about tsunami disaster and its mitigation from the environmental engineering perspective. And I really hope that everyone remains seated, and please do not go everywhere because we still have two more interesting presentations. Hello, Professor Makoto.
Yeah, hello. Thank
Hello.
you.
How are you?
Yeah, fine. Yes. Can I share already?
Yeah, sure, you can.
Okay.
Yes. Do you want to start now? Are you ready?
Up to you.
Sure. The floor is now yours, Professor Makoto.
Yes. Thank you very much. I'm so sorry for the title, a little bit changing, and not from the engineering perspective, but human geography perspective. So first of all, I'm very much so sorry for the last big earthquake in the West Java a couple of days ago. Thus, there are many earthquake disasters in Indonesia. Almost once deadly, maybe over 100 casualties earthquake in 2 years, every 2 years. Why is so many experience the Indonesia people had? But I think the capacity is not still high. Why the many experience do not reinforce the capacities? This is the main question of today. So I look back on the tragedy of the century in Banda Aceh on December 26, almost 18 years ago. Yeah, you may very well remember the tragedy. Many people die across the Indian Ocean, but the most severe affected city was Banda Aceh. Nearly 100,000 people died in the tsunami. Why so many people died? I want to ask this question today first. We are now still continue studies, but it's skip. Why so many people die in tsunami? Many reasons we can think. But today, I focus on the last one, cultural dimensions. This is the story about one student at the time. Even though he was a student in USM, Faculty of Science, nevertheless, he did not know what happened. For more detail, we had long interviews with 20 victims, survivors. And you can download and publish several books. You can download this freely from the website, Orang-Orang Yang Bertahan Dari Tsunami. There is, including many stories, what happens at the time. In some, at the time, the 17 persons were in tsunami area. And earthquake happened around 8 a.m. And according to people talking, almost 1 hour later, tsunami coming. But no one did not move during the first period. And severely, almost half people were caught in waves. Finally, survived. So why so many people die? Basically, yes, for tsunami, fighting for tsunami, actually the most useful way for preventing is to escape, not fighting against the tsunami. Of course, there are no governmental mechanism, engineering mechanism, social mechanism for disaster risk reduction. At the time, no warning system, no prevention scheme, no embankment, no very few places for evacuation. But most seriously, we thought the main reason was lack of basic literacy for tsunami risk reduction. Eventually, many people failed to escape, regardless the enough time between the earthquake and tsunami. This is very much critical issues. At the underlying level of culture, actually, many people did not know the word of tsunami at the time. Namely, no scientific knowledge about tsunami. Also, your region have the local word, Ibuna, but many people did not know at the time of interview this word. Also, always the tsunami region like Japan, the many people thinks that in the first period, if earthquake happen, the many people think of tsunami coming next. But at the time in Banda Aceh, almost no one have a lack of earthquake tsunami association. Of course, no code of conduct in tsunami earthquakes, and they could not understand what happened. The many people thought of this was flooding. Actually, according to the scientific researches, there have been many earthquakes and tsunamis for several hundred years. But actually, at the time, there are no culture of tsunami disaster risk reduction. Maybe this is closely related to the 30 years enduring conflict. Yeah, social mechanisms was weakened at the time. I mentioned a little bit the reconstruction. The government first tried to prohibit the affected area to live, and then to relocate the settlement to higher places. But finally, the settlement was recovered as original places. No dike again, and no embankment also. Some new evacuation place constructed. More recently, the urban areas in Banda Aceh expanding to the suburban region. You can see some areas, southern part of the Banda Aceh city. I'm very much afraid the next earthquake, liquefaction could be possible. Also, the former affected area, nowadays, there are something like mushrooming the housing development on the former Tambang, lowland areas, very dangerous places for coastal hazards. Of course, the many efforts after the tsunami, supported by the NGO foreign government. But I think almost all things shown in this slide nowadays not continued, not kept. Only the tsunami museum well kept. According to the questionnaire surveyed at that time, the many people again did not know the word of tsunami, also word of Ibuna. So knowledge level is, actually was unfortunately low. From the interview again, the very few interviewee did know the scientific knowledges about the tsunami, and also the local knowledges. Ibuna, many people lack of knowledges. At a community level, actually, after the tsunamis, some drill conducted, and also the many efforts I shown before. but capacity is still low, according to the recent questionnaire, our questionnaire survey. Yes, again, now, currently in Banda Aceh, knowledge level actually drastically improved. Individually, awareness enhanced, but still low, not enough. And community level also, no cultural mechanism for disaster risk reduction, we can point out. And more dangerousness things is that the urban expansion continue into the dangerous place. Anyway, I'm very much afraid for futures, some disaster risk in Banda Aceh. For example, the knowledge level at the community level, comparing to the Jogja, in Banda Aceh, in Aceh region, the scientific knowledge is about scientific knowledge is Gampong community rare communicate with institute, academic, the university institute, very low percentage. Very rare case, we can point out also. So finally, I can point out that there are two kinds of disaster risk management. One is governmental, another one is community-based. You can see the two kinds of disaster management. The many countries focus on the governmental and scientific knowledges, academic knowledges. Of course, this is very much important, but we can also point out the lack of grassroots or community mechanism to push the people forward based on the local knowledges and embodied knowledges. So that's why it is very much critical for future risk reduction to bridge between two. So in this sense, the role of university or academic institute is very much important. So this is my talk today. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Makoto Takahashi, for your presentation. As we can see together, ladies and gentlemen, that Professor Makoto Takahashi is sharing about tsunami disaster in Aceh, because we live in an area that is so prone of disaster. Kita tinggal di area yang rentan tsunami, sehingga banyak yang bisa kita pelajari dari penelitian Profesor Makoto Takahashi agar kita bisa menghindari atau lebih baik lagi in the future ketika terjadi earthquake. Thank you very much, Professor, for addressing this very important topic. I remember that you paid a visit to Universitas Rami Mekah a few months ago. And I hope that everything is going well with your research.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, give applause to Professor Dr. Makoto Takahashi. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any question, jika punya pertanyaan untuk Profesor Dr. Takahashi mengenai tsunami, boleh menuliskan di kolom chat box di Zoom, atau juga boleh menggunakan fitur raise hand yang ada di Zoom. Dan Bapak Ibu yang ingin bertanya langsung juga nanti akan dipersilakan dalam Q&A session. Thank you very much. Dan diharapkan untuk tetap tinggal di tempat duduknya karena kita masih punya the last but not least presenter, which is Dr. Muslim Daud from Universitas Serami Mekah, and as his expertise is in education, he is going to talk about investigating online learning implementation in Banda Aceh, challenges and possible solution. Okay, Dr. Muslim Daud, are you ready for the presentation? Excellent. The floor is now yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hamdan wa syukralillah, salatan wa salaman ala rasulillah. All audiences in the hall of Dr. Teku Haji Muhammad Hasan, and also the audiences who are following this international conference through Zoom link in different places, locally, nationally, and internationally. I recognize some participants from Pakistan, also from Vietnam, and also from Taiwan. I hope you are okay there. You can follow this activity from far away, but take more benefit from this activity. Thank you, Ibu Sabrina, given me the time, about 15 minutes. Please remind me if I pass more than 15 minutes later. All audiences, senior lecturers, researchers, and of course, keynote speakers from Japan, Sudan, Australia, Pak Alan Larkin, my professor, happy to get you with us. And also Pak Okoto Takahashi, Ibu Prof. Belor. I am today given the topic, or we can say title, Investigating Online Learning Implementation in Banda Aceh, Challenges and Possible Solution. Somebody share my slide, please. We have article actually written not only by me myself, but together with Ibu Mariati, dan ada Pak Dr. Teku Abdurrahman, ada Borchen Kuo from Taiwan, and ada Prof. Yus Rizal dari Universitas Syah Kuala, dan juga ada Pak Saryakin dari Bina Bangsa Get Sempena. We wrote this together, and today I present it to you on behalf of all of them. As online, we are going to talk about a little bit about online learning and its implementation. COVID-19 foster online learning implementation, challenges, result of study, and conclusion with possible solution. Next. IT team, next. Next. Okay, talking about the advantage of online learning, the availability of various learning resources. Since the online learning, a lot of online learning resources there on the net. So whatever subject studies you are teaching, you are learning, you can access this online learning. Jadi, apapun yang Anda ajarkan ada di internet, boleh diakses. Banyak search engine, banyak search engine yang saudara-saudari, mahasiswa-mahasiswi bisa akses. Begitu juga dengan dosen. Jangan sampai mahasiswanya lebih pintar dari dosennya, mahasiswa lebih pintar dari dosen. Lebih duluan mereka tahu. Kenapa? Because of online learning. They can learn by themselves. Ya, jadi itu jelas. Kemudian support teachers in hard learning materials. We know that a lot of material studies, particularly in science, such as in math, there are hard materials to be taught by teachers. Both the material itself and the way to teach. Ada materi-materi sulit seperti di dalam ilmu-ilmu sains yang kategorinya sains, matematik, biologi, itu ada materi-materi sulit. Karena itu online learning ini bisa secara otodidak diakses oleh pembelajar dan juga pengajar, bagaimana mengajarkannya secara lebih cepat, lebih baik. Ya. Sementara para mahasiswa-siswa itu sendiri juga bisa belajar mandiri di rumah, di kos, dan seterusnya. Betul, Pak ya? Ya. Itu salah satu fungsi dari atau advantage dari online learning. Kemudian dia memberi motivasi, motivate students in learning. Yes, we can access ourselves. This is an additional value of online learning. I can learn by myself. Pak ya? Betul, betul. Betul, Pak. Di materi-materi sulit, di bahasa Indonesia juga ada materi sulit. Boleh, boleh. Mantap. Jadi seperti itu. Banta cah ju, hana masalah bahasa Aceh, bahasa Indonesia. Yang penting ni dengar, baik gaduh baik apa. Rugo hek dapat buat acaranya. Adik-adik mohon fokus sebentar lagi ya. Acara ini kita buat dengan susah payah untuk memberikan benefit for all. Ya, for all. So please pay attention. No longer than 1 hour ahead, okay? Okay. While you are learning how to listen to English. And then cheaper learning material prices. You see, if you buy a book, for example, maybe what 200,000, 200,000. By online learning, maybe 45,000 rupiah. 45,000 udah dapat. Nah, this is one of advantage of online learning. And a lot of other advantages. Even free. Gratis, Pak ya, even free. Free bahasa Aceh. Kemudian COVID-19 foster online learning implementation. Because of COVID, it fostered the implementation of online learning. Yeah, to get learning still ongoing, to get schools still active, to get students still study, and to get teachers still get paid. Imagine if the school or no school because of COVID, what will happen? Student will not study, and the teacher, the lecturers will get not paid, nggak dibayar. Kenapa? Nggak kerja, ya kan? Jadi termasuklah COVID ini mempercepat implementasi daripada online learn. Online learn. Hello, are you with me? Online learn. Yeah, thank you. I just make you wake up. Nggak apa-apa ya. Okay. There are links, a lot of material we can access provided by the government, by the Menteri Pendidikan Nasional, a lot, we can access rumah belajar, TV edukasi, pembelajaran digital learning, dan seterusnya, ruang guru, dan seterusnya. Ada beberapa yang harus dibayar, some of them we need to pay, but a lot of them are free. Is that effective online learning? Yes or no? Yeah, the answer, we have to answer, yes or no. Yes, if the school has no problem with online learning infrastructures. Schools, university like us has no problem with infrastructure. What are those infrastructures? Internet connection, computers, laptop, video camera maybe, and so forth. It is a challenge. It should be challenges. Challenges in schools faced with one, teachers' competency in handling online learning, and the second, the availability of online learning infrastructures. Teachers also has problem by themselves about competency to use online learning. And also the problem in what? In the availability, school infrastructure for online learning. What is that? Including electricity, maybe, internet connection, maybe, and so forth. Okay, we did research from 102 schools. We took 11 schools involving 55 teachers. 55 teachers. What is the result? What is the result? What is the result? Experience in running online learning before COVID? Never. 75% never. 75% never. Yes, almost similar to online learning, 15. Others, 9. What does it mean? Many teachers did not use to online learning before COVID. Maybe lectures also like that, Ibu. Saya hantar na pakai cik broker, golong yan. Tigogo na pakai online learning. Teachers lebih-lebih, 75%. Ya. Okay. Nah, abang 3, challenges in running online learning, teaching materials, how to put into soft copy. 44% have challenges there, have problem there. 69% have problem in learning using with video. 20% how to operate supporting devices for online learning. They have limited competency there. Hanan di part tegan, kita cara ada pudip. Part tegan, jangan bertuh kira-kira menalah. Ya, bertuh. Ya, tergantung. Ya, itulah ada kekurangan di sini ya. Challenges. Nah, what competency improvement required? According to research, they need training and mentoring. Not only training. We can do training one day, but mentoring maybe for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 5 weeks, 1 month. 35% say yes, we need training and mentoring. Training and mentoring in preparing video learning. And also training and assistance in operating supporting devices. Okay, thank you. Do we have other challenges? Yes. Based on this data, the internet access is limited. This is the government got to fulfill this. All right? There are so too far, yeah, internet access between urban, rural, and rural, urban, and rural. We are here. If we look at Aceh, we're still not in the middle, but below the middle about internet use all over the country. As a conclusion, many teachers need more help if online learning to be continually implemented. And then the school should equip themselves with adequate technology devices. In one way, in another, the government must put more effort to provide online learning access and better its infrastructure. Other suggestion, question and answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pak Dr. Muslim, and please give applause to our last presenter. Mudah-mudahan semuanya masih semangat dalam acara kita ini ya, karena presenter yang kita hadirkan pada hari ini luar biasa sekali. Dan seperti yang Pak Muslim bilang, ya, online learning itu penting sekali because it support MBKM, termasuk international conference yang kita gelar pada hari ini adalah salah satu program atau kegiatan yang mendukung MBKM itu sendiri, because we can be mobile, ya, we can do mobility without movement, yang mana kita bisa keliling dunia secara virtual dan juga berinteraksi dengan para keynote speaker kita dari berbagai mancanegara, para pakar dunia ini. and we do not need to pay any cost. Yes, it is free, yeah, and very convenient. Thank you very much. Yeah, please give applause once again to all of our keynote speakers. Okay, now as we enter the Q&A session, I would like to invite everyone. Saya ingin mempersilakan Bapak Ibu peserta dan adik-adik juga yang hadir di acara ini, baik secara langsung maupun via Zoom untuk bertanya. And as I can see, para peserta sangat bersemangat pada hari ini. Pada acara International Conference kita hari ini, kita sudah memiliki beberapa Oke, sebentar. For the first question, apakah ada Bapak Ibu attending this live secara langsung punya pertanyaan? Oke, kita punya satu orang di sini yang ingin bertanya. Silakan.
Assalamualaikum.
Bapak operator atau panitia boleh dibantu adiknya untuk memberikan mic. Baik, bagi peserta yang ingin bertanya, please mention your name, sebutkan namanya, dan juga pertanyaannya ingin ditujukan kepada siapa. Baik, silakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Boleh berdiri?
My name is Sartina Ayu. I from Prodi Islamic Religious Education. Okay, and here I want to ask to speaker, but I can speak English language, but I won't try little. Okay, I wanna ask to Prof. Muslim Daud MED PhD. Why we must their motivation for learning? Why? Because in here we study, there's problem for money, nothing. Why their motivation for learning? And I want to ask to speaker only, what our motivation to be able discipline student as to community service, and what the innovation to education, and why where I get information can get study to another country. Why? And where information I from get to another country. Just that I say thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum moderator. Assalamualaikum moderator.
Waalaikumsalam, Pak Mas Yudi. Silakan Bapak.
Thank you. Hello everyone. My name is Mas Yudi. I came from Faculty of Public Health, Universitas Sambi Mekah, Indonesia. My honorable to all our keynote speaker. I'm very happy today. Welcome to Aceh, Indonesia, to all of our keynote speaker. I'm have question for all keynote speaker, but we do not have too much time. I only have 2 questions. The first question is to Dr. Karasat from Sudan. In Indonesia, we have a very popular quote in Muslim people, kebersihan sebagian daripada iman. My question to Dr. Karasat, in Sudan, we have this quote. This quote in English I got from Google Translate is, "Clean lines is a part of faith." How in Sudan to use this quote? That is the first question. The second question I will deliver to Professor Alaskin. Can you give the information for our lecture in Universitas Rambi Mekah how to get postdoctor in Australia? Because we are very interested to go to Australia for postdoctor. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for the question. They are really interesting. Now, for the first Q&A session, I would like to invite one more person to ask a question. Here on Zoom from Pak Dedi Supriyadi. The question is for Professor Dr. Malloy. And the question is, how is the Malaysian government's contribution in realizing the target of SDG in education? All right, so I think for the first session, we would like to have this 3 question answered first. For the first one, it is addressed to aimed to Dr. Muslim Daud. And the question is, what should we do to be more disciplined and motivated in learning, online learning? Yeah, motivation in online learning. Okay.
Thank you very much. Adik tanya apa tadi sebenarnya?
My question for Muslim Daud MND Bahade.
Yes.
Why we must their motivation for learn? Why? And where we can get information to study to another country, what from where we can information.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to answer why we need to have some kind of motivation to study. Is that correct? Particularly in using online learning, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Why? If you ask why, then mean I have to provide a reason. Actually, the reason is in front of us. When we study something, for example, anything that you are going to learn or you are learning, when you start and you don't have the idea, ya, terjadi kesukaran dalam pembelajaran, any subject, you can go to online learning. You can go to online learning. You learn Arabic, for example, you learn Al-Quran, yeah, you can go there. Of course, for the source, the correct sources on the net, of course, you need to check first. You can ask to your lecturers which resources is correct, and then you learn. You can ask from your lecturers, from your student, or your friends, for example. Why? Because it's easier to access. If you have mobile phone, for example, you sit in this hall, for example, or even in the canteen, you still can access the learning materials. You can do that. Don't you think that is better to use your mobile phone to access learning material than just playing Facebook, WA, or chat? Don't you think it's better to use these devices, this device to access learning? Bukankah lebih bagus kita gunakan alat ini misalnya untuk mengakses materi-materi yang perlu kita pelajari. Jadi saya pikir itu motivasinya. Dan dia murah. Dan nggak ada batasannya. Yang penting yang diakses, kita akses itu betul ya dari sumber yang bagus. Karenanya kalau akses itu akses di website yang eksis dia. Jangan dari blog-blog pribadi. Takutnya kalau blog-blog pribadi itu informasinya dia nulis tidak akademik, tidak bisa dipertanggungjawabkan. Tapi kalau ada www bla 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 dan seterusnya.com itu harus dipertanggungjawabkan apa yang sudah ditulis. Kalau di blog pribadi, ya, if in blogs, for example, usually is not accountable because he or she is writing something in his room, in her room only. The second question, where can we get the information about study abroad? A lot of information on the net. And also we have information from Ibu Sabrina. Sabrina is the head of international office. Where do you want to go for your next study? To Malaysia, to Australia, to Taiwan, she has that information. Or you can type, ketik, pergi Google, ketik sekolah luar negeri. Ada semua, keluar semua. Tinggal Anda pilih. Kalau bahasa Inggris Anda bagus, kemana mau pergi? Australia, ke Taiwan, negara-negara yang berbahasa Inggris. Ada, mudah. Ya, demikian. Nanti kalau ada pertanyaan lain, boleh di luar karena saya ada di kampus ini. Boleh tanya lebih luas. Terima kasih, Ibu Sabrina.
Thank you very much, Pak Dr. Muslim. Mari kita beri tepuk tangan untuk jawaban yang sudah diberikan. Thank you very much. Semoga jawabannya itu bisa menjawab pertanyaannya ya. Okay, let's move on to the second question to Professor Alan Larkin dari Pak Mas Yudi from Pak Dr. Mas Yudi. How to get a postdoctoral in Australia? Do you have any tips for us here, for any of us who want to continue our study further to postdoctoral? Thank you. The floor is yours.
Thank you. It's a very good question. And I think it's a matter of contacting the university or universities that you wish to consider and to explore or ask questions about, do they have academic staff that are researching in the area that you're interested? Like you, Sabrina, a university like Flinders University has a very large international office, and they would have access to all the information that any prospective student would want. So I think that's the first thing, is to contact the international office, express an interest, and the first thing they would ask is, what is the subject matter of your research interest? And they will need to find someone in the university that has expertise and research knowledge in that area. I know that's not a very explicit answer, but it's the best I think we can offer at the moment. Pak Mus, maybe you can suggest something.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Alan. Bagaimana Pak Mas Yudi?
Thank you very
much. Are you happy with the answer?
Yes, thank you very much. I will contact you again after this conference, maybe.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Good
you,
luck.
Prof. Alan. Yeah. Please give applause to Prof. Ellen. Thank you very much. Next, we have the third question for Professor Malur. And the question, there are two interesting questions I found on the Zoom. The first question is, how is the Malaysian government contribution in realizing the target of SDG in education? And the second question is there a correlation between English language education and SDG? And how can English language education students help in achieving the goals of SDG? Okay. All right. You can have a few minutes to answer the question. The floor is now yours, Professor.
Okay, thank you. But the first question is how the government looks into SDG. Okay. Yes, Malaysian government when they do something, they have got certain framework. So one of the frameworks that we use is SDG. That's why when I reported in my presentation, we refer the report from the SDG development report every year. So meaning that government of Malaysia use SDG as one of the framework when we decide what to do, because we use this as one of the frameworks. Yeah, so that is why we have this report. Okay, question number 2 is on SDG in education. Okay, as I mentioned just now, we do have this English language education reform in Malaysia roadmap. Okay, the roadmap for 2015-2025, which is going to be another 3 more years to end. So from this roadmap, we focus on the quality culture in English language education, which is focus on the 3 big elements, which is quality English language program, quality delivery system, as well as quality learning outcomes. When we focus on these 3 big target, okay, we focus on these 3 big focus, it will help students, okay, to learn better. It will help teachers how to teach better. It will help the policymakers how to make a policy better. Okay, I think policy has been there. So now the most important thing is how teachers and students can go hand in hand to help to improve or to help to materialize this roadmap. So when we work hand in hand, teachers and students, inshallah, I believe students will benefit a lot and teachers also will benefit a lot. Then we are not just focusing on the school only, we also focus on the preschool, primary school, secondary school, as well as tertiary level. So we do have this roadmap, and this roadmap can be adopted and adapt for other subjects as well. For now, I use this roadmap, English language education reform in Malaysia roadmap, because my area is English language education. Okay, I hope that could answer the question.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Mallory, for sharing your insight with us. I hope that answered the question untuk Pak Dedi. Dan mari kita beri tepuk tangan untuk Professor Dr. Malur. Thank you very much. All right, for the second Q&A session, we would like to receive 3 more questions, because our time is limited. Karena waktu kita yang sedikit terbatas, maka untuk sesi yang kedua ini kita menerima 3 pertanyaan lagi dari Bapak Ibu ya. Baik, mungkin ada yang ingin bertanya secara langsung di sini. Bapak Ibu silakan angkat tangannya, dan nanti boleh dalam bahasa Indonesia ataupun Inggris, dan kita akan bantu alih bahasakan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Harun Nur Rashid from Indonesian language, but this I can speak only Indonesian. Jadi Pak Muslim, tadi ada menayangkan beberapa slide, di antaranya tentang menyikapi keadaan sekarang ini, yaitu menggunakan alat-alat berupa ya HP lah atau terus ini kita bagaimana menyikapi mahasiswa di ruangan itu dalam proses pembelajaran untuk dapat mereka menggunakan HP. Bagaimana apa yang kita lakukan sebagai seorang dosen. Kemudian untuk menyikapi lagi keadaan ini, kita infokus di ruangan ini banyak yang tidak bisa digunakan. Itu semua ruang ada infokus, tapi semua infokus tidak ada di ruang. Maksudnya fungsinya. Nah, dia ada tapi dia tiada. Kayak setan infokus. Nah, kemudian menyikapi ini, apa yang harus dilakukan? Kami dosen apa yang harus lakukan? Mahasiswa juga apa harus lakukan? Dan kami minta kepada Pak Profesor Dr. Muslim, mudah-mudahan jadi, nanti ini menyikapinya. Kemudian tadi ada pertanyaan di akhir daripada penyampaian Pak Muslim bisa mengambil S2 di luar. Kira-kira apa yang dilakukan oleh lembaga kita bagi mahasiswa-mahasiswa yang sudah selesai nanti? Kita tahu untuk ke luar negeri itu minimal TOEFL-nya 500. Kalau enggak di 500 tidak lulus. Indonesia aja ada universitas yang menerapkan TOEFL. Malah sampai 500 juga. UI kita di IU aja kan enggak. Nah, ini bagaimana apa yang dilakukan oleh lembaga kita? Padahal khusus ada di sini orang-orang jurusan bahasa Inggrisnya sangat bagus saya lihat. Misalnya ada yang lepasan Australia dan lepasan Inggris di tempat kita ini. Cuma mungkin kita tidak memfasilitasi mereka itu untuk memberikan TOEFL atau TOEF untuk mahasiswa kita. So mereka lulus S2-nya. Apalagi untuk speaking hari ini saya melihat rata-rata saya suruh mahasiswa saya bertanyalah, enggak tahu Pak. Pak saya bilang free, bahasa Aceh precit. Bekah, broken home. Bahasa Inggris broken home, bahasa Aceh bro hancur. Jadi mereka tidak berani ini. Ini perlu apa yang harus dilakukan oleh khusus lembaga dan untuk dosen bagaimana menyikapi ini. Terima kasih. Akhirul kalam, maafkan kami Indonesian language karena jurusan bahasa Indonesia. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih banyak Bapak atas pertanyaannya. Baik, berikutnya ya, ada pertanyaan yang kedua untuk Dr. Karashad. Nah, Dr. Karashad, are you still there? All right, so there is a question for you, Dr. Karashad. So in Indonesia, the government sometimes use Islamic slogan to promote health, which is cleanliness is a part of faith. But what about in Sudan? Does the government there in Sudan also use this kind of method to promote other people, to promote health to other people, to keep cleanliness or something? Okay, so that is for the second question. Yeah, and the third question is for Professor Dr. Makoto Takahashi. We already have a few questions for you here from Sultan Razi from the Public Health Department atau FKM. So Sultan Razi want to ask about the tsunami in Aceh that happened in 2004, which has taken many victims. And what can we learn from the Japanese government before the tsunami disaster or the earthquake happened? Because we want to reduce the number of casualties. Okay, that is the third question. And let's start with the first one. Okay, the first one, I think to Dr. Karashat. Okay, the question is about cleanliness, the way of the Sudanese government in promoting the health there. Okay, the floor is yours.
Okay. Actually, thank you for this question. Actually, for Sudan, the health procedures to prevent the disease we first know it when the pandemic corona. But before this, nobody were paying attention for health. I do not mean that no health procedures or no health efforts from the government in Sudan, but I want to say that health is so usual that because of course Sudanese are Muslims, so the self health and environment health, they all care about it. And maybe because also the environment in Sudan may be different from Indonesia, that we have no much rains and no dam. So we have the sun, and I think the environment is naturally not difficult to be controlled by the human by the government. In the pandemic corona, for example, okay, there is some efforts from the government that say you have to wash the hands and so on. But I want to say that this is already known for us as Muslims, that we pray 5 times a day. So that was just an addition from the government. If the government ordered for the human to wash their hands, and whenever you touch everything, you wash your hand or something like that. For the government in Sudan, now Sudan, actually there is some troubles, political troubles for 5 years. So many troubles of health, hospitals and so on. So it is not there is no develop or there is no improve in health field. But we as Muslims, we just protect ourselves, and then we prevent ourselves from diseases by being clean, just as follow as Sunnah. I wish this is satisfying the answer.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Karashat. Gimana Pak Masyudi? Are you happy?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Karashat.
You're welcome.
Salam from Aceh, Muslim from Aceh. Thank you for the answer.
Sama-sama.
Thank you very much for your answer. Please give applause to Professor Dr. Karashat.
Okay.
Yes. Terima kasih banyak. And the next question untuk Professor Dr. Makoto Takahashi. Professor, the question is, what can we do atau what we can anticipate, how we can anticipate the disaster or the earthquake before it happened to reduce the number of casualties in Aceh? Or maybe you can share a little bit about what the Japanese government has done. We can learn maybe 1 or 2 from your government. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much for question. Very difficult question, actually. There are a variety of hazards we should live together, including the flooding, landslide. In Aceh, in Banda Aceh, there's no volcano actually, but in Java also, together, living together with the volcano, and also very rare, but once in 100 years happening tsunamis. So that's why the focusing on tsunami. You know that in Japan, in 2011, a big tsunami occurred in eastern Japan, killing about 20,000 people. Oh, yeah, so many people died. It's one of the biggest natural hazard in the developed country after World War II. At the times, you know, the Japanese government established the early warning system for tsunami. If earthquake occur, the government issued early warning in 3 minutes. But actually, the government sometimes fails. Other times in 2011, yeah, government took a mistake. Actually, first announcement 3 meter high, but actually the more than 10 meters. So that's why so many people died at the time. But in reality, many people did not listen to warning at that time in Japan. Before warning, especially the saved person, survivors, begin to escape at the time, before warning. And warning, unfortunately, stopped because of the electricity killed. So that's why yeah, of course, currently the advanced scientists cannot focus when, where, what kind of and what size earthquake happen exactly. So that's why, yeah, of course, it is very important to government to make a procedure, a process to go forward the advanced science and technology. But for the people, maybe it is quite important to escape as soon as possible. Big earthquake happen. In 2004 or in Aceh, the earthquake happened in the offshore Similu Island at that time. But the next time, where I don't know, and the scientists also cannot focus. This is the first answer. And secondly, according to our survey, very interestingly, comparing to Kota Banda Aceh, in Aceh Jaya, rural area, death rate was low. There are two reasons. One reason is that there are mountain or hilly places behind the settlement. So very easy to escape. This is one reason. Another reason, people did know well about a place where to escape. People did well know. So that's why it's very important to discuss regularly with the family and the community. What if earthquake or flooding happen, what to do? This is my answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Dr. Makoto. I believe that there are still a lot for us to improve and learn from the Japanese because we have some similarity. But thank you very much for sharing your knowledge, your tips on how to prevent more casualties when the earthquake happen in our country. Okay, for the last question, I would like to welcome Dr. Muslim to answer the question.
Thank you. I got the question from Professor Abdul Rashid, my senior lecturer of Universitas Serambi Mekah from Bahasa Indonesia Department, right? Okay. Asking question about how to menyikapi what is how to respond. Thank you. The mobile phone used by the students. I think we need to make the use of this mobile phone more benefit for the good thing. Like I said before, use this mobile phone to access learning material, to communicate in a good thing. Don't waste your time using mobile phone by playing something not important for you. Yeah, because you are a student right now, growing. Why don't you grow with a good thing? Why don't you grow with learning? Yeah, particularly Prof. Abdul Rashid just now asking how to go to overseas, for example, right? How to go to overseas to take master degree in Australia, in Taiwan, in England, in US. Why not? So create your future from now, right? Create your future from now. Also for lecturers, yeah, for lecturers who already got master's degree, take PhD in overseas. Why not? But how to do that? Relate to the second question, right? Where we can get information. The first one just now. What about English department? Why don't we facilitate those best lecturers of this university to spread the information to other lecturers, right? Untuk berbagi ilmu dan informasi. Itu sebenarnya sudah dilakukan, Pak. Cuman mungkin intensitasnya itu perlu diperkuat, ya. Kita terus mendorong dosen-dosen yang lulusan luar negeri untuk berbagi ilmu. Banyak yang kita fasilitasi dan terus terang International Office yang dikepalai oleh Ibu Sabrina itu secara reguler membuat kegiatan sosialisasi beasiswa, yang terakhir kemarin sosialisasi beasiswa Taiwan. Ini ke depan mau kita buat lagi sosialisasi beasiswa ADS dan seterusnya. Hanya saja mungkin di sana sini missing information, Pak. Bapak sibuk, dosen lain juga sibuk, akhirnya tidak terkomunikasi dengan baik. Tengok ada buka pamflet buraya-raya, Pak. Baru itu, Pak. Terkadang memang di promosi kita ada kendala, di promosi kegiatan kita ada kendala. Karena itu kita perlu teamwork yang kuat untuk mempromosi, masuk ke media online, sharing ke grup dan seterusnya, sehingga informasi bisa tersampaikan paling kurang diketahui, sehingga dari sana akan muncul minat. Nah, yang sudah dilakukan oleh Prodi Bahasa Inggris, setahu saya, dia TOEFL test, Pak. Ada belajar TOEFL dan belajar tes TOEFL, Pak. Udah ada tes TOEFL-nya. Banyak mahasiswa yang sudah ikut belajar TOEFL di Prodi Bahasa Inggris. Karena kita berkat inisiasi Pak Warek, dan Pak Dekan, Pak Rektor, Pak Rawarek dan Pak Dekan, khususnya di FKIP sendiri udah ada kita itu lab bahasa ya yang bisa digunakan untuk berbagai tes termasuk tes TOEFL. Ini luar biasa. Tinggal pemanfaatannya, Pak. Jadi kalau kita nggak manfaatkan, otomatis para dosen yang lulusan luar negeri itu pun ada yang pakai roku, ala bu, kira-kira benar kan? Tapi kadang tayang-tayang lagi, tentu ini menjadi sebuah cemeti juga, khususnya OIA dan juga bahasa Inggris serta pimpinan untuk terus ini digelorakan ya, digelorakan sehingga ada dosen kita nanti yang berangkat ke luar negeri. Dan bukannya tidak ada sebenarnya, itu ada dosen-dosen kita sekarang masih belajar di luar negeri. Contohnya Ibu Malia, Nur Malia itu di Taiwan, dan ada beberapa di Inggris dan seterusnya. Ada Pak. Cuman ini perlu kita terus dorong supaya jangan putus ya, jangan putus yang belajar ke luar negeri, apalagi fasilitas beasiswa dan seterusnya ada, tinggal meningkatkan tiket bahasa saja ya. Bahasa Inggris perlu bagus memang. Untuk apa? Jangan sampai belajar sampai ke sana nggak tahu apa yang diajarkan. Of course, it's useless. Karenanya harus punya tiket dulu, TOEFL dan seterusnya sehingga bisa belajar ke luar negeri. Ya, kalaupun misalnya nggak ke luar negeri, ya di dalam negeri itu wajib kan? Ya, jadi kita dorong juga. Sudah selesai master, ya. Kemudian pertanyaannya, ini kok udah bawanya bahasa Indonesia ini. Padahal internasional. Sorry, this is because of the internal domestic domestic case. So regarding the process belajar mengajar di ruang mungkin masih kurang dan seterusnya, fokus kita akan sampaikan ke pimpinan kalau udah rusak mang diganti dan seterusnya. Nanti kita akan bicarakan dengan Pak Denny ya bagian perlengkapan. Tapi sejauh ini sudah bagus, cuman mungkin karena belum ada pengamanan yang steril sehingga mungkin dan jumlahnya belum mencukupi sehingga tidak dipasang seperti yang ada dipasang di beberapa ruang yang sudah terkunci dengan bagus. Tapi bagus sekali pertanyaan Bapak, ini jadi masukan. Thank you very much Pak Prof. Abdul Rashid, Gure Ulunduan. Dan semoga ini menjadi cemeti bagi kita bersama untuk terus melanjutkan pendidikan. Dan bagi adik-adik yang mau ke luar negeri, kuliah ke luar negeri, ya boleh tanya Ibu Sabrina, ini Ketua Prodi Bahasa Inggris juga sudah ada. Jangan malu bertanya, ya, jangan malu bertanya. Demikian, thank you.
Thank you very much, Pak Muslim, for your answer. Dan terima kasih banyak juga for all of the question. Dengan terjawabnya pertanyaan yang ketiga, maka berakhir pula our final session. Actually, we still have a lot of questions coming to all of our honorable and amazing keynote speaker, but because we have a very limited time, waktu kita sangat terbatas, we regret that we have to end the session here. But thank you very much once again to all of you who have attended, asked question, and for all the panelists, please give applause to everyone for our audiences and presenters. Terima kasih banyak sekali lagi, dan saya juga ingin berterima kasih banyak for all of the participants. Di sini ada saya lihat dari SMA 1 Luunga juga, tadi dari Padang Tiji, dan terima kasih juga yang sudah hadir dari fakultas masing-masing nonton bareng, and yang sudah hadir secara live. To all of you from structural leaders and also the presenter participants, all are amazing. And I really thank you from the bottom of our heart. And before we end the session, let's have a photo session. Kita take a picture together di Zoom. Bagi yang hadir via Zoom, silakan membuka kameranya. Dan yang hadir secara live, those attending live, please prepare your best smile and raise your hand like this, ya. Nanti kita akan diberi aba-aba oleh operator, dan nanti ketika Sudah 1, 2, 3. Itu nanti akan diambil gambarnya. Oke, ready? Silakan dibuka dulu kameranya bagi yang hadir di Zoom. Semuanya. Please open your camera. Please open your camera. We are going to take a picture together. Oke. Semuanya sudah ready? Sudah? Ya. Tim IT sudah bersiap? Are you ready? Tim IT sudah oke? Oke. Ya. Oke, semuanya adik-adik mahasiswa, Bapak Ibu, ya. And also all the participant on Zoom, please like this. Give your gesture, thumbs up gesture. Oke, ICMR oke. 1, 2, 3. Oke. Again. Oke, masih lagi? Oke, kita ulang sekali lagi ya Bapak Ibu. Let's do it once again. And hold on. And hold on because the operator needs to take a few pictures of us. Okay. Once again. 1, 2, 3. ICMR, okay. Okay, thank you very much. All right, so that's the end of our session. Everyone, demikian. Yeah. Thank you once again to our panelists, Professor Dr. Miller Muhammad Yunus from UKM, Professor Alan Larkin from Australia, Dr. Karashat Muhammad Shakir Ali from University of Bahrain, Bahri Khartoum, Sudan, and Professor Dr. Makoto Takashi from Nagoya University, Japan, and Dr. Muslim Daud from Universitas Serambi Mekah, Indonesia. I really hope that our collaboration will not end today, and hopefully it continues again in the future. Thank you very much. And I would like to remind everyone untuk mengisi attendance link itu sudah dibagikan di Zoom, dan bagi yang hadir secara live juga boleh nanti meminta kepada panitia link attendance-nya. Dan jangan lupa kita juga masih ada session. We're going to have break for about 1.5 hours untuk isoma Bapak Ibu. And after that at 1:30 Indonesian time, we're going to have a parallel session. So please stay tuned and see you again in the parallel session. Thank you very much, and I wish you assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you. Bye. Bye for now.
Okay, see you.
Selamat
datang di Universitas Serambi Mekah. Menjadi universitas yang unggul, inovatif, dan berintegritas dalam bidang tridharma perguruan tinggi di tingkat nasional dan internasional. Universitas Serambi Mekah yang disingkat USM yang bernaung di bawah Yayasan Pembangunan Serambi Mekah atau YPSM didirikan pada tanggal 21 Maret 1984 oleh salah seorang pendiri negara Republik Indonesia, Dr. Mr. Haji Teku Muhammad Hasan yang tertuang dalam Akta Notaris nomor 76 tahun 1984 dengan izin operasional nomor 180-SK-PPS-KOP-1985 tanggal 18 Juli 1985. Dengan surat keputusan Menteri Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan Republik Indonesia nomor 0430-O-1987 tanggal 23 Juli 1987. PTSM memperoleh status terdaftar.
Universitas Serambi Mekah merupakan salah satu universitas swasta yang beroperasional di bawah koordinator LL Dikti Wilayah 13 Aceh yang diselenggarakan oleh Yayasan Pembangunan Serambi Mekah atau YPSM.
Sejak tahun 2000 hampir seluruh program studi yang ada di lingkungan PTSM memperoleh status terakreditasi BAN PT.
Ketika pertama kali didirikan tahun 1985 dipimpin oleh Dr. Mr. Teku Haji Muhammad Hasan sampai dengan tahun 1997 setelah beliau wafat. YPSM dipimpin oleh putri beliau yaitu Pocut Hajah Kemalawati sampai dengan tahun 2004.
Tahun 2004 sampai 2014, kepemimpinan YPSM dimotori oleh Ayahanda Hati Sulaiman Syah, anak menantu dari almarhum Dr. Mr. Hati Muhammad Hasan. Tahun 2014 sampai dengan saat ini, YPSM dipimpin Insinyur Teku Iskandar Syah, anak dari Ayahanda Hati Sulaiman Syah. Di bawah kepemimpinan beliau, YPSM dan Universitas Serambi Mekah terus mengalami perkembangan yang signifikan, baik dilihat dari kualitas maupun kuantitas. Tahun 2002, Universitas Serambi Mekah terus melakukan pengembangan dan merespons kebutuhan nyata masyarakat Aceh dengan mengubah PTSM menjadi Universitas Serambi Mekah atau USM. Berdasarkan surat keputusan Mendiknas nomor 250-D-0-2002 tanggal 30 Oktober 2002.
Perkenalkan, nama saya Tiara Haryanti, saya berasal dari Kota Banda Aceh, saya berkuliah di Universitas Serambi Mekah pada jurusan FK PGSD. Alasan saya memilih kampus Universitas Serambi Mekah dikarenakan akreditasinya juga tidak kalah jauh dengan universitas negeri. Sistem belajar mengajar di Universitas Serambi Mekah sangatlah baik dikarenakan dosennya selalu memasuki jam mata kuliah itu sangat tepat.
Dengan dosen tetap saat ini berjumlah 263 orang, dosen kopertis atau DPK 24 orang, dan dosen tetap yayasan 239 orang. 81% telah memiliki kualifikasi pendidikan S2, 11% telah memiliki kualifikasi S3, 9% sedang menempuh S3 baik di dalam maupun luar negeri.
Rencana yang dilakukan pengembangan kampus ke depan agar tercapai visi dan misi ini untuk selanjutnya, bahwa dalam kiprahnya kita lihat strategi ya, lompatan jangka panjang untuk 15 tahun ke depan ya. Yang pertama sekali tentunya perbaikan mutu ini sangat penting ya, mutu dosen, di mana dosen yang mengajar ini tidak hanya bertitel S2 saja, tapi juga kita harapkan ke depan semuanya mereka adalah telah menyiapkan program jenjang S3 mereka sebagai tenaga pengajar.
Sistem belajar mengajar di kampus Universitas Serambi Mekah untuk saat ini memadai dengan sarana dan prasarana dengan tenaga ahli, doktor, magister yang mendukung proses belajar mengajar sehingga mahasiswa yang masuk di Universitas Serambi Mekah cukup dengan infrastruktur, prasarana dan juga tenaga ahli yang mendukung di Universitas Serambi Mekah.
Universitas Serambi Mekah hingga saat ini telah mempunyai keseluruhan alumni mencapai 25 ribuan alumni yang tersebar di seluruh Indonesia dan luar negeri.
Perkenalkan, nama saya Dinda Ayusa Fitri Saragi. Saya berasal dari Aceh Singkil dan mengambil jurusan FK Pendidikan Matematika. Alasan saya memilih kampus Universitas Serambi Mekah, saya meninjau dari akademik yang ada di Universitas Serambi Mekah sangat baik dan lulusan Universitas Serambi Mekah adalah orang-orang yang hebat.
Universitas Serambi Mekah terus mengalami perkembangan sampai menjadi 23 program studi.
USM ini ada 6 fakultas ya. Fakultas yang tertua adalah Fakultas keguruan dan ilmu pendidikan membawahi daripada 10 program studi, diantaranya adalah pendidikan guru sekolah dasar, pendidikan biologi, fisika, ekonomi, matematika, sejarah, kimia, bahasa Inggris, bahasa Indonesia, dan penjas. Kemudian fakultas lainnya teknik ya 4 program studi, yaitu teknik lingkungan, ya kompeten industri dan kimia. Kemudian fakultas kesehatan masyarakat mempunyai 1 program kesehatan masyarakat. Fakultas ekonomi 2 program studi, yaitu ekonomi manajemen dan ekonomi akuntansi. Kemudian ada juga Fakultas Teknologi Pertanian, ini membawahi 2 program studi, yaitu teknik industri pertanian dan teknologi pangan. Yang terakhir adalah Fakultas Agama Islam, ini ada 4 program studi, yaitu pendidikan agama Islam, pendidikan Islam anak usia dini, perbankan syariah, dan komunikasi dan perjalanan Islam.
Menyelenggarakan sistem pendidikan tinggi secara terpadu untuk menghasilkan lulusan yang link and match dengan pasar kerja, ilmu pengetahuan dan teknologi melalui proses pendidikan penelitian, pengabdian masyarakat dengan dilandasi budaya akademik. Fakultas yang mengalami perkembangan yang cukup menonjol adalah Fakultas Keguruan dan Ilmu Pendidikan.
Sistem belajar dan mengajar di Fakultas Kesehatan Masyarakat Universitas Serambi Mekah yaitu menggunakan berbagai fasilitas oleh dosen dan berbagai macam metode dan model sesuai dengan mata kuliah yang ada di Fakultas Kesehatan.
Pengelolaan manajemen institusi untuk meningkatkan citra perguruan tinggi dengan berbagai pihak untuk meningkatkan daya serap lulusan dan berkontribusi secara luas dengan lingkungan kerja. Universitas Serambi Mekah hingga saat ini sudah banyak mengumpulkan beragam prestasi. Beberapa di antaranya adalah angkat besi PON ke-22 Papua tahun 2021, atlet dayung USM Aceh 2021, tenis lapangan tahun 2021, Muay Thai tahun 2022, program holistik pembinaan dan pemberdayaan desa PHP 2D tahun 2021, Pilmapres tahun 2021, KN MIPA PT tahun 2021, Lomba Penulisan Opini tahun 2021, Chapter Book tahun 2021.
Harapan saya untuk kampus Universitas Serambi Mekah semoga menciptakan lulusan-lulusan terbaik di negeri ini.
Harapan saya untuk Universitas Serambi Mekah untuk terus meningkatkan baik dari segi sarana dan prasarana dan tenaga pendidik untuk menciptakan lulusan-lulusan yang terbaik.
Harapan saya untuk kampus ialah tetap mempertahankan kualitas yang sudah ada dan terus meningkatkan kualitas untuk bersaing di tingkat nasional maupun itu internasional.
Lulusan yang berakhlakul karimah dan tercapainya suasana akademik yang islami menghasilkan tata kelola dan manajemen institusi yang efektif, efisien, dan akuntabel, meningkatkan hubungan kemitraan dengan stakeholder, pemerintah, dan pemangku lulusan yang mampu berkontribusi secara lebih luas sesuai dengan bidang keahlian. Selamat datang di Universitas Serambi Mekah. Menjadi universitas yang unggul, inovatif, dan berintegritas dalam bidang tridharma perguruan tinggi di tingkat nasional dan internasional. Universitas Serambi Mekah yang disingkat USM yang bernaung di bawah Yayasan Pembangunan Serambi Mekah atau YPSM didirikan pada tanggal 21 Maret 1984 oleh salah seorang pendiri negara Republik Indonesia, Dr. Mr. Haji Teku Muhammad Hasan yang tertuang dalam Akta Notaris nomor 76 tahun 1984 dengan izin operasional nomor 180/SK-PPS-KOP-1985 tanggal 18 Juli 1985. Dengan surat keputusan Menteri Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan Republik Indonesia nomor 0430/O/1987 tanggal 23 Juli 1987. PTSM memperoleh status terdaftar.
Universitas Serambi Mekah merupakan salah satu universitas swasta yang beroperasional di bawah koordinator LL Dikti Wilayah 13 Aceh yang diselenggarakan oleh Yayasan Pembangunan Serambi Mekah atau YPSM.
Sejak tahun 2000 hampir seluruh program studi yang ada di lingkungan PTSM memperoleh status terakreditasi BAN PT.
Ketika pertama kali didirikan tahun 1985, dipimpin oleh Dr. Mr. Teguh Haji Muhammad Hasan sampai dengan tahun 1997 setelah beliau wafat. YPSM dipimpin oleh putri beliau yaitu Pocut Hajah Kemalawati sampai dengan tahun 2004.
Tahun 2004 sampai 2014, kepemimpinan YPSM dimotori oleh Ayahanda Hati Sulaiman Syah, anak menantu dari almarhum Dr. Mr. Hati Muhammad Hasan. Tahun 2014 sampai dengan saat ini, YPSM dipimpin Insinyur Teguh Iskandar Syah, anak dari Ayahanda Hati Sulaiman Syah. Di bawah kepemimpinan beliau, YPSM dan Universitas Serambi Mekah terus mengalami perkembangan yang signifikan, baik dilihat dari kualitas maupun kuantitas. Tahun 2002, Universitas Serambi Mekah terus melakukan pengembangan dan merespons kebutuhan nyata masyarakat Aceh dengan mengubah PTSM menjadi Universitas Serambi Mekah atau USM. Berdasarkan surat keputusan Mendiknas nomor 250-D/0/2002 tanggal 30 Oktober 2002.
Perkenalkan, nama saya Tiara Haryanti, saya berasal dari Kota Banda Aceh, saya berkuliah di Universitas Serambi Mekah pada jurusan FK PGSD. Alasan saya memilih kampus Universitas Serambi Mekah dikarenakan akreditasinya juga tidak kalah jauh dengan universitas negeri. Sistem belajar mengajar di Universitas Serambi Mekah sangatlah baik dikarenakan dosennya selalu memasuki jam mata kuliah itu sangat tepat.
Dengan dosen tetap saat ini berjumlah 263 orang, dosen kopertis atau DPK 24 orang, dan dosen tetap yayasan 239 orang. 81% telah memiliki kualifikasi pendidikan S2, 11% telah memiliki kualifikasi S3, 9% sedang menempuh S3 baik di dalam maupun luar negeri.
Rencana yang dilakukan pengembangan kampus ke depan agar tercapai visi dan misi ini untuk selanjutnya, bahwa dalam kiprahnya kita lihat strategi ya, lompatan jangka panjang untuk 15 tahun ke depan ya. Yang pertama sekali tentunya perbaikan mutu ini sangat penting ya, mutu dosen, di mana dosen yang mengajar ini tidak hanya bertitel S2 saja, tapi juga kita harapkan ke depan semuanya mereka adalah telah menyiapkan program jenjang S3 mereka sebagai tenaga pengajar.
Sistem belajar mengajar di kampus Universitas Serambi Mekah untuk saat ini memadai dengan sarana dan prasarana dengan tenaga ahli, doktor, magister yang mendukung proses belajar mengajar sehingga mahasiswa yang masuk di Universitas Serambi Mekah cukup dengan infrastruktur, prasarana dan juga tenaga ahli yang mendukung di Universitas Serambi Mekah.
Universitas Serambi Mekah hingga saat ini telah mempunyai keseluruhan alumni mencapai 25 ribuan alumni yang tersebar di seluruh Indonesia dan luar negeri.
Perkenalkan, nama saya Dinda Eancipated Saragi. Saya berasal dari Aceh Singkil dan mengambil jurusan FK Pendidikan Matematika. Alasan saya memilih kampus Universitas Serambi Mekah, saya meninjau dari akademik yang ada di Universitas Serambi Mekah sangat baik dan lulusan Universitas Serambi Mekah adalah orang-orang yang hebat.
Universitas Serambi Mekah terus mengalami perkembangan sampai menjadi 23 program studi.
USM ini ada 6 fakultas ya. Fakultas yang tertua adalah Fakultas Keguruan dan Ilmu Pendidikan, membawahi daripada 10 program studi, diantaranya adalah pendidikan guru sekolah dasar, pendidikan biologi, fisika, ekonomi, matematika, sejarah, kimia, bahasa Inggris, bahasa Indonesia, dan penjas. Kemudian fakultas lainnya teknik ya, 4 program studi, yaitu teknik lingkungan, ya, kompeten industri dan kimia. Kemudian fakultas kesehatan masyarakat mempunyai 1 program kesehatan masyarakat. Fakultas ekonomi 2 program studi, yaitu ekonomi manajemen dan ekonomi akuntansi. Kemudian ada juga Fakultas Teknologi Pertanian, ini membawahi 2 program studi, yaitu Teknik Industri Pertanian dan Teknologi Pangan. Yang terakhir adalah Fakultas Agama Islam, ini ada 4 program studi, yaitu Pendidikan Agama Islam, Pendidikan Islam Anak Usia Dini, Perbankan Syariah, dan Komunikasi dan Perjalanan Islam.
Menyelenggarakan sistem pendidikan tinggi secara terpadu untuk menghasilkan lulusan yang link and match dengan pasar kerja, ilmu pengetahuan dan teknologi melalui proses pendidikan penelitian, pengabdian masyarakat dengan dilandasi budaya akademik. Fakultas yang mengalami perkembangan yang cukup menonjol adalah Fakultas Keguruan dan Ilmu Pendidikan.
Sistem belajar dan mengajar di Fakultas Kesehatan Masyarakat Universitas Serambi Mekah yaitu menggunakan berbagai fasilitas oleh dosen dan berbagai macam metode dan model sesuai dengan mata kuliah yang ada di Fakultas Kesehatan Masyarakat Universitas Serambi Mekah yang terbaik.
Sistem pengelolaan manajemen institusi untuk meningkatkan citra perguruan tinggi dengan berbagai pihak untuk meningkatkan daya serap lulusan dan berkontribusi secara luas dengan lingkungan kerja. Universitas Serambi Mekah hingga saat ini sudah banyak mengumpulkan beragam prestasi. Beberapa di antaranya adalah angkat besi PON ke-22 Papua tahun 2021, atlet dayung USM Aceh 2021, tenis lapangan tahun 2021, Muay Thai tahun 2022, program holistik pembinaan dan pemberdayaan desa PHP 2D tahun 2021, Pilmapres tahun 2021, KN MIPA PT tahun 2021, Lomba Penulisan Opini tahun 2021, Chapter Book tahun 2021.
Harapan saya untuk kampus Universitas Serambi Mekah semoga menciptakan lulusan-lulusan terbaik di negeri ini.
Harapan saya untuk Universitas Serambi Mekah untuk terus meningkatkan baik dari segi sarana dan prasarana dan tenaga pendidik untuk menciptakan lulusan-lulusan yang terbaik.
Harapan saya untuk kampus ialah tetap mempertahankan kualitas yang sudah ada dan terus meningkatkan kualitas untuk bersaing di tingkat nasional maupun itu internasional.
Lulusan yang berakhlakul karimah dan tercapainya suasana akademik yang islami, menghasilkan tata kelola dan manajemen institusi yang efektif, efisien dan akuntabel, meningkatkan hubungan kemitraan dengan stakeholder, pemerintah, dan pemangku lulusan yang mampu berkontribusi secara lebih luas sesuai dengan bidang keahlian. Selamat datang di Universitas Serambi Mekah. Menjadi universitas yang unggul, inovatif, dan berintegritas dalam bidang tridharma perguruan tinggi di tingkat nasional dan internasional. Universitas Serambi Mekah yang disingkat USM yang bernaung di bawah Yayasan Pembangunan Serambi Mekah atau YPSM didirikan pada tanggal 21 Maret 1984 oleh salah seorang pendiri negara Republik Indonesia, Dr. Mr. Haji Teku Muhammad Hasan yang tertuang dalam Akta Notaris nomor 76 tahun 1984 dengan izin operasional nomor 180/SK.PPS/KOP/1985 tanggal 18 Juli 1985 dengan surat keputusan Menteri Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan Republik Indonesia nomor 0430/O/1987 tanggal 23 Juli 1987. PTSM memperoleh status terdaftar.
Universitas Serambi Mekah merupakan salah satu universitas swasta yang beroperasional di bawah koordinator LL Dikti Wilayah 13 Aceh yang diselenggarakan oleh Yayasan Pembangunan Serambi Mekah atau YPSM.
Sejak tahun 2000 hampir seluruh program studi yang ada di lingkungan PTSM memperoleh status terakreditasi BAN PT.
Ketika pertama kali didirikan tahun 1985, dipimpin oleh Dr. Mr. Teku Haji Muhammad Hasan sampai dengan tahun 1997 setelah beliau wafat. YPSM dipimpin oleh putri beliau yaitu Pocut Hajah Kemalawati sampai dengan tahun 2004.
Tahun 2004 sampai 2014, Kepemimpinan YPSM dimotori oleh Ayahanda H.T. Sulaiman Syah, anak menantu dari almarhum Dr. Mr. H.T. Muhammad Hasan. Tahun 2014 sampai dengan saat ini, YPSM dipimpin Insinyur Teku Iskandar Syah, anak dari Ayahanda H.T. Sulaiman Syah. Di bawah kepemimpinan beliau, YPSM dan Universitas Serambi Mekah terus mengalami perkembangan yang signifikan, baik dilihat dari kualitas maupun kuantitas. Tahun 2002, Universitas Serambi Mekah terus melakukan pengembangan dan merespons kebutuhan nyata masyarakat Aceh dengan mengubah PTSM menjadi Universitas Serambi Mekah atau USM. Berdasarkan surat keputusan Mendiknas nomor 250-D/0/2002 tanggal 30 Oktober 2002.
Perkenalkan, nama saya Tiara Haryanti, saya berasal dari Kota Banda Aceh, saya berkuliah di Universitas Serambi Mekah pada jurusan FK PGSD. Alasan saya memilih kampus Universitas Serambi Mekah dikarenakan akreditasinya juga tidak kalah jauh dengan universitas negeri. Sistem belajar mengajar di Universitas Serambi Mekah sangatlah baik dikarenakan dosennya selalu memasuki jam mata kuliah itu sangat tepat.
Dengan dosen tetap saat ini berjumlah 263 orang, dosen kopertis atau DPK 24 orang, dan dosen tetap yayasan 239 orang. 81% telah memiliki kualifikasi pendidikan S2, 11% telah memiliki kualifikasi S3, 9% sedang menempuh S3 baik di dalam maupun luar negeri.
Rencana yang dilakukan pengembangan kampus ke depan agar tercapai visi dan misi ini untuk selanjutnya, bahwa dalam kiprahnya kita lihat strategi ya, lompatan jangka panjang untuk 15 tahun ke depan ya. Yang pertama sekali tentunya perbaikan mutu ini sangat penting ya, mutu dosen, di mana dosen yang mengajar ini tidak hanya bertitel S2 saja, tapi juga kita harapkan ke depan semuanya mereka adalah telah menyiapkan program jenjang S3 mereka sebagai tenaga pengajar.
Sistem belajar mengajar di kampus Universitas Serambi Mekah untuk saat ini memadai dengan sarana dan prasarana dengan tenaga ahli, doktor, magister yang mendukung proses belajar mengajar, sehingga mahasiswa yang masuk di Universitas Serambi Mekah cukup dengan infrastruktur, prasarana, dan juga tenaga ahli yang mendukung di Universitas Serambi Mekah.
Universitas Serambi Mekah hingga saat ini telah mempunyai keseluruhan alumni mencapai 25 ribuan alumni yang tersebar di seluruh Indonesia dan luar negeri.
Perkenalkan, nama saya Dinda Eancipated. Saya berasal dari Aceh Singkil dan mengambil jurusan FK Pendidikan Matematika. Alasan saya memilih kampus Universitas Serambi Mekah, saya meninjau dari akademik yang ada di Universitas Serambi Mekah sangat baik, dan lulusan Universitas Serambi Mekah